محمد المصطفى وعلى آله المجتبى وأصحابه المقتدى أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذا حييتم بتحية فحيوا بأحسن منها أو ردوها إن الله كان على كل شيء حسيبا صدق الله مولانا العظيم. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for Hidayat Islam and Yawm al-Jumu'ah. In this ayah which I recited, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us when you are given the greeting of salam, Assalamu alaikum, then you must respond at least with the same wording, if not the better wordings. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to take the account. So today, I like to remind myself and all of us about the 6 important rights of a Muslim upon the other Muslim, which are mentioned in one very famous hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we all have heard that, but this is a reminder so that we keep in mind and try to fulfill those rights. And that hadith is mentioned in Tirmidhi. It's a Sahih hadith. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, للمسلم على المسلم 6 بالمعروف يسلم عليه إذا لقيه ويجيبه إذا دعاه ويشمته إذا عطس ويعوده إذا مرض ويتبع جنازته إذا مات ويحب له ما يحب لنفسه وكما قال عليه السلام. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that a Muslim has 6 rights upon another Muslim. The first and the foremost, when you meet a Muslim brother, then you should say Assalamu alaikum. When you are invited to join him in his meal or to visit him, then you should accept that invitation unless there is a genuine excuse. When he sneezes, then you should respond. If he says Alhamdulillah, then you should say Yarhamukallah. When he becomes sick, then you should visit the brother. When he dies, then you should attend the janazah salat. And you should love for the brother what you love for yourself. So these are the 6 rights of a Muslim upon the other Muslim brothers. So these are very important rights which bring the brotherhood or akhuwah, which is the foundation of relationship amongst Muslims. As in Surah Al-Hujurat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, إنما المؤمنون إخوة فأصلحوا بين أخويكم لعلكم ترحمون. All the Muslims, regardless of where they live, which nationality they belong to, or which race they belong, doesn't matter. As long as they are Muslims, they are one brotherhood. That's one millah, or one ummah. And they have right upon each other. Now in this hadith there are only 6 rights mentioned. These are the fundamental rights. But the rights extend even beyond that. And we are mentioning these 6 rights today just to understand the basic rights. But there are far more than that. These are the rights which help strengthen the relationship. And the first and the foremost is when we meet a brother or when we address a brother through, let's say, email or through telephone call, Because these days the meeting is not just face to face. These days the most common meeting is happening through the electronic media, through the social media. So even there, we should start the conversation with the Salamu Alaikum. We should not be saying, hey, how are you doing? And just start talking. This is the right of our brothers that we should send the salam, which is, Assalamu Alaikum is really a dua. It is a dua for our brothers. We are wishing well, a peace for them. Peace in this dunya and the peace in the hereafter. This is what Assalamu Alaikum means. And hey and hi and good morning and good night, they don't have much meaning. We know that this is a social norm in the society that we live in. And that's all right to say that. We're not saying that that's wrong, but it should start with the dua and the salam which has been commanded to us as Muslims, and which is the right of our brothers. And so we should always keep in mind the first right of our Muslim brothers, to start with Assalamu Alaikum wa Rahmatullah wa Barakatuh. If you can add to that, then that is even better. But the minimal is Assalamu Alaikum. And then when somebody says Assalamu Alaikum, then it becomes obligatory to respond with Wa Alaikum Assalam at least. But if you can do more, Wa Rahmatullah wa Barakatuh, then even better. Because this ayah from Quran I recited, it tells us that this is the hukm, this is the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in which He has said, إِذَا حُيِّيتُم بِتَحَيَّةٍ فَحَيُّوا بِأَحْسَنَ مِنْهَا أَوْ رُدُّوهَا. When you are given a salam, then you should at least return the same or better than that. So this is the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and must do that. And this is the foundation which brings the love amongst the Muslims. It removes any kind of ill will which may be there. The Prophet ﷺ in one hadith, he said, لا تدخلون الجنة حتى تؤمنوا ولا تؤمنوا حتى تحابوا ولا أدلكم على شيء إذا فعلتموه تحاببتم أفشوا السلام بينكم. The Prophet ﷺ said, you will not enter the Jannah unless you have Iman, the faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you will not have faith unless you love each other as Muslims. And shouldn't I tell you about an action that if you do that, then there will be love amongst you? And that is to say salam to each other. If you say salam, you make it very common practice, then there will, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, bring love amongst your hearts. And that goes with everybody. Whether somebody is young or old, poor or rich, you should always try to be the first one to say Assalamu Alaikum. So he said, Afshu Salam. Make salam as a common practice between you. In one hadith he said, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Ya ayyuhan nasu afshu salam wa at'imu at-ta'am wa sallu bil-layli wan-nasu niyam tadkhulul jannata bisalam. This is another famous hadith reported by Abdullah ibn Salam radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. He was a famous Jewish rabbi in Medina who became Muslim. And he has not reported many hadiths, just few of them. And this is one of them he reported. And he said, the Prophet ﷺ said, he gave us a formula how to enter the Jannah. What is the path, fast track to Jannah? Of course, Iman Billah and Rasul, it is given, that is the condition. But after that, there are four things he said you must do. First, you should make salam as your common practice. Whether you know somebody, you don't know anybody, you say Assalamu Alaikum. And you should feed the poor, the needy. Feed them. And alhamdulillah, we have food pantry here. This is one way to feed those who are needy. And you should be doing salat when people are sleeping, and that is the tahajjud. When people are sleeping, you get up earliest in the morning, and you should be doing salat. And fourth, you should be afshu salam, atmu ta'am, wa sallu billahi bin nas niyam. The fourth thing is not mentioned here, but it has been mentioned other places. Wasilul arham. You should connect the relation of the blood relation with your relatives. You should try to connect with your blood relations. Don't try to disconnect with them. Try to connect with them, and again that connection will be with salam, with feeding them, helping them in their needs. See, the fourth thing that you do, this is the fast track to the Jannah. And somebody asked Rasulullah, Ayyul Islami khayrun? What kind of Islam, what kind of a way of life is the best? And he responded, قال تطعم الطعام وتقرئ السلام على من عرفت ومن لم تعرف. That you should feed the hungry and the poor, and you should give salam to the one you know and to those you don't know. This is the best kind of Islam, which means the character and conduct of a Muslim. The one who is very generous in feeding the poor and the needy, and the one who is always giving salam to the one he knows or he doesn't know. Because this salam creates humility. It removes any signs of arrogance in the person. Because this is a quality comes from shaitan, the devil. This is what humiliated the devil. The devil, his name was Azazil, and he was a very respected and honorable person before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala amongst the angels. He was not an angel, but due to his ibadah, he became very honorable. But what brought him down is his arrogance. He became arrogant before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because he said, I am created out of the fire. Why I should bow down before Adam, who was created from a clay? So he said, I am better than him. Ana khairun minhu. So this is an evil quality of arrogance which can come to people because of their money, position in society, power. That brings arrogance, and this is a source of destruction for individuals in the society. So what brings the opposite of that is humility, to be humble before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the individuals. And the humility comes through Salamu Alaikum. Whether you know someone or not, always say Assalamu Alaikum. And the Prophet said, Al-Badi'u bis-salami bariyun min al-kibr. The one who begins with Assalamu Alaikum, he is free from kibr, from arrogance. So, before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the person who begins with salam has more honor. In awla an-nas billahi man bada bis-salam. The one who begins with salam is more honorable before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there's a lot of hadiths which tell us about salam. This is the first the right of the Muslims upon us. And similarly, the second right is وَيُجِيبُهُ إِذَا دَعَاهُ. That when you are invited, then you should accept their invitation. Whether you are invited to the house, you are invited to the food, you are invited to some celebration, then we should try to attend that. Unless there is some genuine reason or excuse, then we should send our excuse and ask forgiveness for not coming. Because this is the brother's right. And if we are not fulfilling the right, we better have a good excuse for that. And we should not just not show up with no excuses. So this is the right of our brother, and we should fulfill that. The third thing is, وَيُشَمِّتُهُ إِذَا عَطَسَ. When somebody sneezes and says, Alhamdulillah, then it is our obligation that we should say, Yarhamukallah, may Allah send His mercy upon you. And then the person who sneezed may say that in response to that, Yahdikumullah wa yuslihu balakum, that may Allah guide you and He may make your matters good or right. وَيَعُودُهُ إِذَا مَرَضَ, and the next right is when the brother falls sick, then one should visit or ask how he is, needs any help or anything. So this visiting in order to find out how the brother is doing also is his right. وَيَتَّبِعُ جَنَازَتَهُ إِذَا مَاتَ, and when the person dies, then to attend the janazah. This is a fard kifaya. Fard kifaya is something when few from the community they attend that fulfills the fard of the whole community. But not only it is a right of the brother, but it is also brings tremendous rewards. There are hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam which tell us that if we attend the salat janazah, there is reward equal to qirat. But if we go to the cemetery and attend the burial, then there are 2 qirat. So people ask, what is qirat? So the Prophet ﷺ said, just like Mount Uhud. So Mount Uhud, we have visited there, we know how big the Mount Uhud is. And this is just an idea the Prophet ﷺ gave. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward is tremendous, limitless. So there are a lot of rewards in addition to fulfilling the right of our brother to attend the janazah. We should do that as much as possible. And then وَيُحِبُّ لَهُ مَا يُحِبُّ لِنَفْسِهِ, we should love for our brother what we love for ourselves. And there are many hadiths which tell us that whatever we love for ourselves, we should love for them. And that includes the nasiha. If they ask us or they don't ask us, we should recommend something which is good, which we like, which benefited us, whether in our family, in our business dealings, in any matter, then we should advise and guide our brothers to go that way so they are benefited, just like we did. And anything else that we enjoyed, then we should wish the same thing for our brothers and share with them. But I must say that unfortunately, there are a lot of good things in the society that we live in. Alhamdulillah, Allah has blessed us so many things. And there are a lot of things. But on the other hand, there are certain etiquettes which have developed here. And main attitude is there's selfishness. That I don't need anybody. I am good on my own. And so isolation and the attitude of being just isolated and not bother anybody. Why should I pry into somebody's business or so on? So everybody on his own. This is a kind of a lifestyle which has developed. But when we look at the lifestyle of Prophet ﷺ and the society of Medina, and these are hadiths, that tells us that this is our business. The business of our brother is our business. That's why we are asked that when somebody is sick, you should visit. When somebody is in trouble, you should help. Find out what kind of problem they are and what you can do for them. When you love something, you found some benefit in your family, in your business, in your enterprise, then tell the brother so that they can benefit from it. But these days we know that everything is secret. Nobody wants to tell nobody anything. You are on your own. So this is a challenge and a test for us, that living in a society where this is the kind of a way of life or a style of life, how we can change ourselves in order to fulfill these rights of our brothers upon us. This is a challenge and test for all of us, because this is the way to success. And this is not just individual we're talking about. even the organization, the Islamic organization, the masajid, there is, more attitude of competition. And not only that, even to the degree of jealousy. And international level, you go, so-called Muslim countries, they go to the level of animosity, cutting relations, even fights and wars being fought. So extend these rights of Muslims not just from to the level of international relationships, and you will find out how much violations are being done. And people are cutting relations at international levels, even fighting and conspiring in association with enemies and so on. So we need to start at ourselves, in our communities, and in the masajid level. That's how we develop the akhuwa and the brotherhood, which is required by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the teaching of Rasulullah alayhi wasallam. That's how we develop this unity amongst the ummah we talk about. Otherwise, the division which we see today in the ummah, which we see amongst communities, divided based upon ethnicities, based upon schools of thoughts, and furq based upon their aqidah and upon their ways of their different scholars and the ulama and so on. They're divided. The masajid, they are different. They're labeled. This furq, this furq. And so they don't accept you in that masjid. If you go there, they will throw you out. So this is really a time of great fitna, which we have come to because of the misguidance of shaitan. The shaitan has brought us to this stage because of our selfishness, because of the jealousy, because of the arrogance. We are divided. So we know the disease. So what is the cure of that? When we look at this hadith, simple hadith of 6 rights of Muslim upon us, if we start from here, we can overcome this disease of division. And in fights, we can overcome that and bring the closeness of the hearts, bring the unity and brotherhood and akhuwa, which is necessary. And that hadith warns us, which I just read, in which Prophet ﷺ said, you cannot enter the Jannah unless you have Iman, and you cannot have Iman unless you have the hub of the Muslims, and you cannot have the hub unless you do engage in these things, which are salam is the main thing, and other 6 rights of the Muslims. So this is really not something which is just recommended. It is something which is required in order to develop those conditions to enter the Jannah, Iman and hub lil mu'mineen. That is required in order to enter the Jannah. But unfortunately, we are far from that. And this is the prescription this hadith gives us, how to overcome that. So pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He help and guide us.
Ameen.
That we overcome our difficulties, overcome our diseases which are dividing us, and brings our heart together.
Ameen.
Bring the ittihad bain al-Muslimin at the community level, at the national level, and at international level, so become one ummah.
Ameen.
Under the one leadership,
Ameen.
like it was under the leadership of Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Khilafa ala minhaj an-nubuwah. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين واستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم.